Ikpi, the spoken word artist, is in the house, and we are going to usher her in right about now as she gives you a tip of what she's made of. Enjoy her. Come on in, Bassey. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
So, give it to them.
Today I remember my grandmother. She attempts to connect with her second children. She finds the only English word she knows from somewhere hidden in the belly of her 4-foot, 9-inch body, and instead of "awonke," she greets us with "bye-bye," beckoning us into her thin, clay-colored arms. Those arms mothered my mother, taught her how to mother me. I inhale the history from her skin, and she reminds me of the small, scared girl carried away on an iron bird to America. Seems like that same girl has returned to replace that perfect girl with me, this strange, tongue-tied woman, the one that can barely say hello without the clicks and moans and dips and tones of the white man's language. It breaks my heart to realize that I can only love her clearly in English, but this is not my only tongue. Insolent and heavy with the awkward movements of amber waves east or west, this is not my village, and my heart still longs for my grandmother's voice, steady and strong, crossing rivers and oceans, rounding buildings of mud, thatched roof, steel, glass, concrete, confusion. Yet I am afraid that it will not find me here in this land, miles from the one that welcomed me into this world, lifetimes before I existed in this cosmopolitan space. Bong Nong Yi Ben Yami means, what will I teach my children? What will I tell them of where I've been, the earth that shaped me, the hands that held me? What will they call home, and will they hear it if and when it calls them? Oklahoma, D.C., Brooklyn will not help me remember Ikom, Ugep, or Calabar. It will also let me forget fingers sticky with fufu swallowed whole, tongue stinging numb from plantain fried and palm oil, but I have lost the grit and the grain of my grandmother's gari. I can't taste past this nostalgic lump in my throat. I can't stomach the reality of this, my divided culture. African, American. I am everything, yet I am nothing. Nigeria quietly begs me to remember, while America slowly urges me to forget. But it's for my past, it's for my future, it's for my children, and it is for you, grandmother, that I must always, always remember.
Wow. That was awesome. Really awesome. Wow. How long have you been doing this?
Professionally for 12 years, but I've been writing since I was 8 years old.
Interesting. Yeah. And where have you been hiding?
In the States.
Which of the holes in the States?
I grew up in Oklahoma,
okay,
but I was raised in the D.C. area and spent a lot of time in Brooklyn, New York. That's where I really honed the talent in writing and performing. I was born in Ikom, Cross River State.
All right.
My people are from Ugep, actually, but I moved to the United States when I was 4.5 years old.
That's quite early.
Yeah, and I've been there ever since. I've come back to visit a few times, but the last time was 18 years ago in 1994.
Wow.
So it's been a really long time.
Why did it take so long? I mean, to come back here in Nigeria, was the last visit, was there a bad experience? You didn't look forward to coming back to Nigeria?
No. The last experience was fine. It was good. We spent a lot of time in the village. It was different than what I was used to. My whole family came this time.
Before we go further, let's go backward.
Okay.
Growing up here, at that time, can you remember anything at all at that time?
I do, actually. Okay. I remember... like I said, I was born in Ikom, but my parents, my mother was in nursing school in Ibadan, and my father was in the States. So I was literally raised by the village.
Was it pleasant?
Yeah. It was really heartwarming. I cried oceans and buckets. I think I spent the entire time there crying.
But not as much as the Babbage.
As
the Babbage, the ocean. You know we have a Babbage?
Oh. Close.
Close to it. Okay, yeah. So that's telling us that you missed home
I did.
while you were there.
I did. I really did. And I didn't understand the magnitude of what it means to be Nigerian in Nigeria after being away for so long until I was here. And I just fell in love with it all over again.
So speaking of your siblings, how many of them do you have?
I have one sister, a younger sister, and 2 younger brothers who are all taller than me.
Are they into artistry as well?
Not at all. I'm the only artist, and I've always been the only artist. I used to dance. I used to, act, do different things like that. It was just me. They're science business people, you know, they make my parents proud. I worry my parents.
You worry
by
your
being an
parents.
artist.
Is that a way of also getting their attention?
Being an artist?
Yeah.
Not really, because I don't think they care much. I mean, when they're happy when they see me on TV.
That's the whole idea. You don't think they care enough, and the only way you can make them get that attention or, you know, be there for them is to be the rebel.
No, I would like less of my parents' attention. To be honest with you, like I don't. No, it's not that at all.
Okay.
I've just always been artistically minded.
Inclined.
I've always read and wrote and did plays and danced and
because
things
from
like
what
that.
you're telling me now, your parents aren't artists in
No,
any way.
they're like
so where did you
scientists.
get it? Where did you get it from?
My father is an amazing writer, and I feel like in a different world, in a different life, he would have been, you know, he would have pursued that because he's fantastic as a writer. My mom is theatrical. You know, she won't admit it, but she's theatrical, and so I think that
In the
it's
kitchen.
there all over the place. My mom is drama all day long, so I think it's there, but it wasn't cultivated. I just was the rebel who chose to actually do it.
Interesting. Wow, you're an interesting personality.
Thank you.
Even though you're in a small container, you still have that influence, that impact on people when you meet them.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now, for how long have you been in the artistry?
Professionally, 12 years.
When did you become very conscious of your talent?
When I was 8 years old, I wrote my first poem, and that was when I realized that words were a way for me to communicate with people. I learned to speak English when I was 5, and I learned to read about the same time. And I think coming from not knowing English to learning English to learning to read, I understood the power of communication. I understood the power of words and the way that words were necessary to communicate, and that's always stuck with me. And so from that 5 years old learning to read to 6 to 7 to 8 writing my first poem and understanding what it meant to communicate using words, and then continuing that, I always wrote, but I never knew was something that was to be shared until college. That was the first time I ever read a poem out loud. And then even when I moved to New York, I wasn't moving to New York to become a writer. I moved to New York because all of my favorite writers had spent time in New York, and I wanted to be around that. I wanted to feel that energy, and I happened to be in the right places at the right time and prepared while I was there, and everything just sort of fell into place, and here I am.
Any regrets?
I regret not believing in it sooner. I think I needed a lot of convincing. No matter how many good things happened, you know, Russell Simmons discovered me, and you know, I did these TV shows and I did all these things, and I never capitalized on them because I felt so very grateful for that one opportunity. Whereas other people would get that opportunity and then, you know, run and try and find the next one and use it to go to the next place. I was just like, I'm so grateful for this. I'm very happy for this. Next thing, I'm very happy for this. Like, I was just very happy and grateful for what I had. I didn't pursue it as vigorously as other people would.
Okay, back here in Nigeria, I mean, if you say you're a poet, people would readily, you know, understand what you're talking about. But when you say spoken word artist, that's a bit different, and that's a bit alien. So
Yes.
Can you explain away why you decided to tag yourself as a spoken word artist instead of just tagging you as a poet?
Well, I tag myself as a poet because I'm a writer, and I write, and the poems live on the page as well. But when a spoken word artist takes it from the page to the stage, that means that whatever it is that I was feeling, whatever emotion, whatever frequency was occurring while I was writing it, my job now is to convey that to the audience so that they feel and understand where I was when I wrote it, and they can connect with it and feel their own thing based on how I've delivered it to them. So the poet is the messenger, and the spoken word artist is the deliverer.
The electricity.
Yeah,
Inside,
the conduit.
just pour it.
That's perfect.
Just
the conduit.
pour it out.
Yeah.
Does it shock people when you pour it out?
I hate questions like that. From what I've heard and seen, yes, but my friends will tell you that I'm probably I'm the harshest critic of myself. I feel like it could always be better. There's always something that needs to be worked on, something that needs to be developed.
Do you have to be in a particular mood to, be able to render?
Not anymore. I can turn it on when I need to.
Okay, just a switch.
Yes,
Have you noticed that everything has to do with electricity?
It does. Yeah, it is very electric. It is very electric because when I'm done, when I get off the stage after doing like maybe a half hour or whatever, I'm exhausted. Like there's just nothing.
So much energy.
Yes.
Expelled.
Right, but then at the same time, you have to stay upright because there's so many people coming to you, they want to talk to you, want to hug you, they want to, have a conversation with you. And then I go home and I just sleep because there's a lot of energy and being expelled.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So you talk about poetry. Have you had time to articulate your thoughts in writing in a book? Do you have a book to your credit?
I have a manuscript, book that I finished years ago.
All right.
That I have not published or put out. Again, I am my harshest critic. I'm my harshest critic, and I have this philosophy that I will not put out anything that I wouldn't buy myself. And I don't think that it was ready. At this point in my life, I like to take pressure off of myself. So if I do it, it'll be done very nonchalantly with no fanfare, and with nobody like pushing me to do it. It'll just be done because I want it to be done.
Okay, in your journey so far, what would you say are your landmark achievements in this your art?
I think the Deaf Poetry Tour. I was on tour with them for about a year and a half. I was in Edinburgh. I was at the Fringe Festival. Then I toured the States with them. That was one. But then I was asked to pen a poem for Venus and Serena Williams at the NAACP Image Awards. And that was a big deal because I got to honor these women that had done such amazing things to their face. Like I got to actually tell them, what it felt like to be a fan of theirs, and I really like that. I think being here is a landmark, and watching and feeling people who say, I saw you, and I know you, and I'm proud of you, like that, and to have people say that they're proud of me, and proud of what I'm doing in the States, and representing Nigeria, that's huge. That's very huge.
Back there in the States, this is an art that it's easily recognizable and appreciated. Do you think you will have that kind of reception here in Nigeria, given the fact that we're not so into this spoken word artistry?
I have received that. I think that when I do, when I have conversations like this, people talk and they have whatever, and they don't really know what to make of it. They're asking questions based on the little bit of information they have, but when they see me perform, then they get it, and then they understand what it is, and then they understand how this is a viable art form. But beyond that, there are people in Nigeria who do this, and I've received their emails, and I've watched their videos, and all they need is the platform and people to understand and to cultivate and nourish and nurture their talent. It's here, it's just not seen, it's not visible.
All right, we've said enough for now. We'll just pause a moment and we'll be right back, courtesy of Bassey Ikpi. Enjoy her on stage. Saturday night, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
From Brooklyn, Bassey Ikpi.
But actually, I wrote this poem. It's an open letter to my son, but I wrote it 2 years ago before there was any indication at all that that this was going to happen. I fear that you will never sleep. That like these fingers long and too thin to hold rings or commitments, you will inherit your mother's insomnia, your father's restless spirit. Child, I wish I could quiet all your questions. Tell you the exact number of stars in the sky. I wish I could show you where the moon goes at sunrise. I want to give you one morning worth rising for. I pray that you will close your eyes. See the world through the only thing I have fit to pass down to you, this heart of a dreamer. But I want you stronger, sooner. Want you kind and brave. Want you unafraid to fight for what you believe and need. Want you beautiful and free. Want you nothing like your mother. This girl, trembling before each new day. This girl, frightened of herself, love. This girl who finds the word woman a cloak too heavy to don most days. You deserve someone who wears the moniker like Banner, carries easy like sun in summer. But child, what can I tell you of peace when you're probably conceived in a cacophony of questions? Still, I think of you as possible. Can feel the breath of God light against your skin, can hear you, softness, eyes closed, laughing, real as the beating staccato against my chest. I wish that we are not too much like shadow and brick, voices thrown against walls these hands are tired of building. I want you to like me, to know me. To know me now. In moments like this, your mother lays awake, watching yet another morning from the wrong side, practicing slow, this breathing that will one day usher you into this world. I still fear that you will never know sleep. But I know that I need your laughter, need the gentle curve of your fingers, need your eyes locked on mine, need you here, now, for balance. I still think you deserve more than this threat of me as your mother, still attempting her own world of colored things. But child, just promise me that you will be, eventually. I need your possibility like I need a night worth sleeping for. Thanks.
All right, welcome back. That was excerpts from Letter to My Unborn Child. Yeah, that's a very touchy one as well. What informed that, really?
Actually, I wrote it on the video. You see that I was pregnant while I was doing it, but I actually wrote it 3 years before any of that. I was explaining to a friend of mine why I didn't want children and what, and he was asking me, well, that doesn't make any sense. And so I actually wrote the poem about trying to explain to him why I didn't want to have children. And yeah.
Can you read my expression right now?
Yes.
What do you think I'm thinking?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm in shock.
Why?
How would a woman not want to have a child?
I don't think I don't think everybody is meant to be a parent, to be honest. I do not believe that everybody is meant to be a parent.
Why?
Some people just aren't. That's not their calling.
You don't think you will make a good mother?
I am a mother, and I'm a great mother, but I don't think that it was some sort of I had to do it type thing. I think that some people everyone has a career choice or a life plan, and it's not all the same. It's all very different.
I'm stunned.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
I don't believe everyone needs to be married
it's
and have
coming from an
children.
African. It's coming from an African, from a Nigerian.
My
have you
parents
sold this idea to your parents?
My parents, my parents have never put pressure on me or any of my siblings the way that I've seen pressure from my other Nigerian friends to get married, to have kids, to do this, to do that. My parents never did that.
And maybe because you said, according to you, they've given up on you and said,
They
let her
didn't
do her thing.
give up on me. Terrible. They didn't give up on me.
I like the outburst.
My parents love me.
Your parents love you, and you don't think you can love another child? A child coming from you?
I mean, they do, and they will, but it's just not the pressure. I feel like some people do it without being ready, without wanting to, and that causes a lot of problems. I think that you should want to. It should be the thing that you want, and if that's not what you want, then it's not what you want. That's just marriage, kids, whatever. If that's not what you want, then it's not what you want.
Speaking of love life, do you have somebody in your life?
No.
I mean, your fans, people are watching right now as we speak. And they'll be like, eyeing you head to toe, and they're like, oh gosh, I wish I can just get close to her. But I am the male fans
focused,
in particular.
I'm focused and married to my work.
Right now.
Always.
So the door is closed tight with the key turned.
Yes, and I'm on the other side working.
No man allowed. No partner for now.
I am happy living my life the way that it's being lived.
Wow, I'm just so awed by Bassey. You really, 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 you got my attention.
Okay.
Big time. And I'm sure you've gotten a lot of people's attention. So now that you're here in Nigeria, you've been here for a month?
Almost a month.
Since you've been away for years.
Yeah.
You just came back. So how's it been like?
I love it.
You love it?
I love it. I'm actually enamored with Calabar because that's my place.
Okay.
So I wish I could have spent more time there. But I love it. I really was. I knew I would like it because it's home. What's not to like? But I really love it, and I'm looking forward to splitting my time between the States and here.
If you want to tag Nigerians, how would it be in your own words?
One word?
In your own words.
Nigerians in general.
Nigerians.
Passionate. Colorful. Proud. There are those of us who are doing things like you, who are doing things that to be proud of and that people should be honored to be associated with. So a lot of that has to do with how I was raised to be Nigerian and how I was raised to be vocal about how Nigerian I am.
Okay. Even if you don't say it, even nobody sees it, I see it in you that the blood of Nigeria, the Nigerian blood, runs deep inside of you because of the electricity and the electrifying influence and performances I've seen of you. Yeah. So your projections. You're back here in Nigeria. What are your projections? What do you set out? What have you set out to achieve?
I set out to bring my NGO here. The Seaway Project, which is a mental health awareness NGO, but I also want to help cultivate and develop spoken word and give it a platform for some of the amazing talent that I've seen in my travels. I think that there are a lot of poets and spoken word artists who are very, very talented, and all they need is that push and that platform, and I'm going to see what I can do to bring that push and platform here for them.
Interesting. You have so much lined up on your plate already. So here's wishing you the very, very best. It's been an honor having you. It's been an honor. I wish I could just getting too old. Otherwise, I would have enrolled in your school. And a bit of this poetry. Seriously. So here's wishing you on Saturday night. Here's wishing you the very best as you go on with your art.
Thank you
it's
so
been an
much.
Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
coming.
coming.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah, so on that note, we say thank you so much for staying tuned to Saturday Night. Until next week, when we bring you another interesting guest, it's been Saturday Night. Have a pleasant